what was your name again?
Jack.
Okay. So the question we're asking is, who do you think Jesus is and why? And you can just...
I can't embody that.
You can't what?
I can't embody him. I couldn't put a body figure on him or even a name.
Is that because you think that he's like more of an idea than an actual person?
Absolutely. That may be an agnostic bias, but I think of him definitely more as this ideal for people.
Are you an agnostic?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you think that Jesus, that there actually was a literal person in history named Jesus of Nazareth, but that there just might be some legends that developed around him or something like that?
Well, I'm not totally convinced that there was.
Okay.
I respect the literature, but not 100% there.
Okay. What is it that causes you to be skeptical about that?
That's a good question, man. I mean, number one, my simple mind can't comprehend that kind of time period, and for that literature to go thousands and thousands of years, into the future. I don't understand the accuracy behind it.
Okay. Is it okay if I just throw out a couple of quick thoughts to chew on?
Yeah.
Well, probably the best supported fact from the ancient world is that Jesus of Nazareth was crucified by the Roman governor Pontius Pilate. That has over 10 early sources to support it. And there are a lot of facts that we just take for granted from that time period that only have one or two sources to support them.
Yeah.
Like some things we know about Caesar and really famous people like that only have one or two historical sources, but the crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth has over 10. And so anyone who has studied this, who has a degree in in this kind of stuff, it will tell you that there's no dispute that Jesus of Nazareth was a real person. He made these incredible claims about himself. He was crucified by Pontius Pilate, and then something happened right after that radically changed the lives of his disciples, that convinced them that he was resurrected. And they were then willing to go and suffer and be imprisoned and get their heads chopped off and stuff like that, because they really believed he came back. So what do you think about that?
I definitely haven't studied it enough to have an absolute answer. I mean, as far as understanding Caesar or even the Roman Empire, I've always been taught that that has been absolute. And now I'm at a Jesuit college, but even then we have we talk more about those kind of empires that still I can't wrap my mind behind a time period so far off, but I still can't comprehend. I understand what you're saying, and what the Bible says. I was I learned it growing up, but I just can't wrap my hand around a man who, speaking very literally, who died and came back.
Okay. What is it about that seems just hard to believe? Couldn't really be in reality. What is it about that is so difficult?
Well, it's totally far-fetched to me, and I love the principles behind it, and I think that without the basic understanding of religion, society would be chaos. But as far as him living and being in the flesh and dying on the cross and coming back, I can't wrap my mind around it.
Okay.
I believe more in different dimensions than I do that stuff.
So, now you said you're agnostic, right? So you're open to the possibility that there is a God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so you can wrap your mind around the possibility that there's some kind of transcendent being that has created the universe, right?
No doubt.
All of reality flows from this being, and this person would be the cause of the beginning of time and space, like the cause of the Big Bang, right? Is it far-fetched to you that kind of a being could raise somebody from the dead?
No. I mean, it's not far-fetched to say that that being could do absolutely anything, transform time and space. But for just to believe, the literature behind Jesus Christ and how he died on the cross, I think that's far-fetched, hard for me to believe.
Okay. Well, here's something else to chew on, if it's okay.
Yeah. I gotta go after this. But.
Okay. There's a very incredible and highly unlikely to come to pass prediction that the Hebrew Bible makes, or what many Christians call the Old Testament. It was written long before Jesus was born. The last book in the Hebrew Bible was written like 400 years before Jesus was born. And it basically says that one day someone will come from the nation of Israel. It calls this person the Mashiach, right? Or the Messiah. And that this person is going to be like the biggest deal in history. He's going to be the most influential figure of all time. It gets very specific about his life and some things that he will do and teach and that will happen to him. He will be rejected by his own people, most of them, but he will be a light to the world. He will preach righteousness. He'll preach a new law to the whole world. The Gentiles will put their hope in him, right? But the basic profile of this person is he's Jewish, obviously, and he's the central figure of history, right? And that is such an unlikely prediction because the Jewish people are such a tiny minority, right? So the likelihood that one of them would become the central figure of history is very, very small, but then it happened, right? It's this guy, Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, who had no money, no political power, and he became the central figure of history. And so that's something that, a lot of people don't take very seriously. It's easy for it to just bounce off of people. It goes in one ear and out the other.
Right.
But it's a big deal, It should at least get us to stop and think, wow, maybe I should take this seriously.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense to you?
I totally agree. Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely agree. Nobody takes the time to learn about anything that's otherworldly.